Okay, good morning. So today we will be talking about illustrating quadratic equations and writing quadratic equation in standard form. So the first thing is, how do we know that an equation is a quadratic equation? A quadratic equation is an equation of degree 2. So the highest exponent of quadratic equation is 2. So for example, in 3x squared plus 4x plus 2 is equal to 0. This is an example of a quadratic equation because the exponent here is the degree is 2, wherein the highest exponent is 2. That makes it quadratic equation. Another example is y squared minus 7y is equal to 0. This is also a quadratic equation because of this 2, which is the highest exponent of the variable y. Next is 2a minus 64 is equal to 0. So this is not a quadratic equation since it is on the first degree equation. So this is not a quadratic but a linear equation. Now, how about 2x quantity x plus 3 is equal to 12? Is this a quadratic equation? Yes, it is a quadratic equation. Why? Because if you are going to distribute 2x to x plus 3, so that becomes 2x squared plus 6x is equal to 12. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is equal to 6x is equal to 12. So the resulting equation is a second degree equation wherein the highest exponent of the variable is 2. Next, quantity 2x plus 3 times quantity 2x minus 3 is equal to 5. This is also a quadratic equation. Why? Because if we are going to multiply 2x plus 3 by 2x minus 3, so take note that this is in the form of a sum and difference of two binomials. So to get the sum and difference of two binomials, we just simply get the square of the first term, which is 2x, and get the square of the second term, which is 3. So the square of 2x is 4x squared. The square of 3 is 9. Just copy 5. Then the sign is always minus here. So therefore, the result is still a quadratic equation. Now, how about 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3 is equal to 5? So this is also a quadratic equation because if you are going to multiply 2x plus 3 by 2x plus 3, so that is a square of binomial. By the way, when you get the square of binomial, we simply get the square of the first term. To get the middle term is you are going to multiply twice x and y, then plus the square of y. So what is the square of 2x? That is 4x squared. 2 times 2x plus 3, that is 2xy. That is 12x. And the square of 3 is 9. So still, the result is a second degree equation. Therefore, it is a quadratic equation. Now, writing equation in a standard form. So how are you going to write a quadratic equation in standard form? So this is now the standard form of quadratic equation is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers, and a should not be equal to 0. So take note that a should not be equal to 0. Since a is the coefficient of the leading coefficient, so take note if this is equal to 0, so therefore the result is linear, not a quadratic. So the order of equation must be quadratic term, that is ax squared, the linear term, that is bx, then the constant c, and is equal to 0. So example, 2x squared plus 20x plus 50 is equal to 0. So this is already in a standard form where our a is 2, our b is 20, our c is 50. Now, another example. So w squared minus 2w plus 1 is equal to 0. This is in a standard form of a quadratic equation where a is equal to 1, your b is equal to negative 2, our c is equal to 1. And then another example is 3m squared minus 36. Still, this is a quadratic equation in standard form. But since we don't have the value of b here, so our b is equal to 0. But our a is 3, our c is negative 36. Take note that it is okay if b is equal to 0. The same also with c. But a should not be equal to 0. If b is equal to 0, then that is, if a is equal to 0, then that is not no longer a quadratic equation. So how about, is this a quadratic equation in standard form? Yes, b squared plus 2b is equal to 0. So in this quadratic equation, the constant or the c is missing but still in standard form. It is because the quadratic term is written first, then the linear term, then it is equal to 0 since our c is equal to 0. So our a is 1, our b is 2, our c is equal to 0. Next, how about the following examples? So you've noticed that the following examples are not written in standard form. It is because the order, which is quadratic term first, then the linear term, then the constant and equal to 0 is not followed. For the first example, we have here negative 5x squared is equal to x. So the equation is not equal to 0. So to write this in standard form, so if you have a negative 5x squared is equal to x, so just transpose x to the left side. Take note, we are going to transpose term from one side to the other side. You have to change the sign so that becomes negative x. So this is now the standard form, which is negative 5x squared minus x is equal to 0. So our a is negative 5, our b is negative 1, our c, since it's missing, is equal to 0. How about second example? Negative 27t plus 11t squared is equal to 0. So it is not in standard form because the linear term is written first. So you just simply rearrange this. So you don't need to change the sign. So just write first 11t squared minus 27t is equal to 0. So since c is missing, so our c is equal to 0. Our b is negative 27, and our a is 11. How about number 3? So since number 3 is the constant is written first, then the quadratic term is last. So this is not in standard form. So just rearrange this. Again, you don't need to change the sign because it is already in one side. So we have 2r squared plus 4r plus 7. So our a is 2, our b is 4, our c is 7. Now, write the quadratic equation in standard form. Ex squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Then identify the values of a, b, and c. So with the first example, 2x plus 3 is equal to negative 5x squared. So we'll just simply transpose negative 5x to the right side, left side. So we are going to change the sign. So that becomes 5x squared plus just copy 2x and 3 is equal to 0. So our a is 5, our b is 2, our c is 3. Now for number 211, t squared is equal to 27t minus 4. So just transpose 27 to the left side and negative 4. So you are going to change the sign of negative 27t. That becomes negative 27t. And negative 4, that becomes positive 4. So our a is 11. Our b is negative 27. Our c is 4. Now for number 3, 4r is equal to 2r squared. So since this is not written in standard form, so you are going to transpose 2r squared on the left side. Change the sign of 2r squared. It becomes negative 2r squared plus 4. Then since c is missing, so it is understood that our c is 0. Our b is 4 and our a is negative 2.
I never made it, but I know